Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Katie, and I'm joined by Bonnie, Leah, and Claire talking about our one cool art gal. Claire already talked about Claude Cahun. Bonnie already talked about Judy Chicago's dinner party.
Yeah.
Leah has something great for you in the episode after this.
True.
I just don't want to exclude anybody.
Oh, that's sweet.
So
Thank
it's coming
you.
up later.
There you go. To be continued, yes.
You'll know soon. But before we dive back in, Leah is going to tell us about the Gals Guide calendar for this week.
I am. So for week 3, the week of March 21st through 27th, it is the last week of our art show, Boosting the Signal, Women's History in Art. So please come see the amazing work by the artists. Buy your favorites. Support artists. My goodness, buy them. Open house hours are Wednesday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I didn't put it in my notes, but the 27th is my birthday. So that is a national holiday for everybody.
Woohoo!
I want you to all do what makes you happy on the 27th.
What
There
do we
you
need
go.
to have instead of, what kind of parade do we need to have on your birthday?
A day off. I think
stay home.
that's pretty much Katie to make my cake and to have a day off.
And
I'm
totally,
very easy peasy on my
The
birthday.
introvert parade.
I haven't hit every birthday recently, but I'm on
yeah.
spring break
Oh!
on the 27th. So you just tell me
Well,
what flavors you want, and I can get
Aw.
this done.
Well, last year you all surprised me in the library because my birthday was on a Saturday and I was
that's
working in the
true.
library and like
I
so
brought
many
you
of you
a
came.
cake from my work.
Yes,
from
but
the
you brought
bakery.
me a cake because
I
you're like
did,
you didn't
I
have
did.
any time to make it, but you brought me one and I'm like, it's
But
a
I'm
cake.
going to
cake
bring you a
just the
cake
same.
this time with gluten in it, though. Just for
That just with gluten in it? Oh my gosh,
Well,
it's like my birthday
you
or
know,
something.
gluten and
I love it. Well, Katie, who do you have? Or wait,
well,
what's
no,
your random
you
question?
can't
That's
know
right.
yet.
No, I don't want to know yet. I want to enter a
I'm not
random
telling-
question.
I'm not telling you because I want to know something about
Fair.
my gal pals.
It's like a ransom note.
You answer my question, I'll tell you about my lady.
Sweet. Well, we're already pretty, so it'll work.
I would
Yes.
like to know, why do you guys think art is so important?
I'm just going to
It's
say
a loaded question.
it is, but I'm going to cheat. Ready?
Okay.
Because art is life. I always think art is life and life is art. It's we project it back and then we also reflect it when we enjoy it. So it's a representative of life.
Okay.
And it's 42. Because 42. I don't know.
I thought you were going to go with that bumper sticker, the
Which one?
Earth without art is just eh.
That's a good answer, though.
Yeah.
No, it's important because when you have a global pandemic and you want to watch some shit on TV,
Exactly, right?
that all
Art.
comes from your art department. When you're having all these Zoom meetings and you need stuff for your wall,
See?
that's art. Art's important because it gets you thinking about life.
See? Art is life.
Yes.
Art is life.
Well, the way that I differentiate between like art and decoration, because I have way too much time to think about this.
I like it.
But art is sharing something. It has a message, it has a meaning, and it's a way to teach empathy or to be able to relate to others.
Yeah.
And whether it is through like an oil painting like what I do,
Right.
or if it's through theater or which of course would lead to movies and books and comics, and it just permeates us so much. I think people take it for granted.
Yeah.
But it's telling a story, it's conveying a message, and it's making a statement. And
Yeah.
I think that's really valuable, and it's just important that we acknowledge that.
And it's brave. Because you're saying this is the way things are and defining it in one little structure. And that's a very brave thing to do.
Yes. I always think it's very weird when people say, well, I don't like art that's political. It's like art is political. If it's not, it's, some melted crayons on a canvas from Pinterest.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Which is fine to do that for fun.
You get bored on Sunday sometimes.
But, or sometimes you forget your Crayolas in the car. But
This is
it
true.
happens. but having that message. I mean,
Yes.
we don't all need to, thwart Nazis.
Right.
We should, though.
Call back.
But I
to
think we should,
previous-
though. I
Yeah.
think we should, though.
Yes, that is important. But we don't always have to do it through art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if you
I
say
mean,
so.
if the Nazis thought that art was important,
They did. They stole a lot of it.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's powerful.
It is. What do you think, Katie?
Powerful. I mean, you guys already answered it so beautifully, but yeah, that was the first thought that came to my mind was it conveys a message. And like, it's hard. I mean, I can't say it beautifully enough, but you just have to have these messages and you have to receive them in very many ways.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
why we have the books around us. We have our
The art
television
downstairs.
shows on Netflix.
Yeah.
We have the visual art. We have sculpture. We
Yeah.
have there's so many different kinds of art because we need to hear those messages and learn about each other through art and share all of that. So I think
And
it's
in
very
different ways.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did we earn our keep so you can tell us about a really cool lady of art now?
You know, I'm going to tell you about a very cool lady.
Yay!
And I think she ticks off like a lot of boxes
Yes.
for what we talk about and what we're about here in the library.
Okay.
Because she was a woman who was inspired by other women artists.
Cool.
She mentored other women artists.
Sweet.
Yes, she was a feminist,
Cool.
published works talking about how women should be photographers and they should be part of the industry and the art movement of photography.
Oh.
And later in life, she was an activist for all kinds of social causes. So just
Nice.
across the board, I'm impressed by her.
Yeah, right?
And I'm only going to share a very little tidbit about her because that's how much I've been able to absorb and learn. But I'd love to learn more about her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be telling you guys about Imogene Cunningham.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
guys familiar with her?
I know of her name,
Yeah.
and I might be able to put one of her photos, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know very little, so I'm
Okay.
excited to learn
was she
more.
in our game night?
I think she was in the game
Okay.
night.
That's
Yeah,
what
and
I
I
think
think
I
that's
know.
the only
Imogene.
reason why I'm familiar with her, because we had a game night where we matched photographers, like a picture of the photographer themselves, and tried to match it to their famous photograph.
Yeah.
And it was a fun little matching game. And I think
can you
Imogene
remember
was
was
in
her
it.
as a picture of a magnolia flower, like very close up? That's one of her most
That sounds
famous
familiar.
I think it was that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, perfect.
that's her.
Oh, yes. Oh, very nice.
But
I'll
one
try
of
to
the
remember which
very
one it was.
defining things about her was she was a photographer for 60 years.
Oh, wow.
And during those 60 years, she was always like on the cutting edge of photography.
Oh, nice.
So her career really changed and evolved. But it was always very very current,
Yeah.
very like cutting edge and like new techniques and new ideas and new designs. So she was actually born in 1883
Oh, wow.
on the West Coast, I believe Washington. And she was always interested in art, and it wasn't provided at her school, but she would take art classes on the weekends. And eventually, when she was like late high school, she even sent away to a catalog to order her first camera.
Oh, nice.
And she loved it. She spent a lot of time with it, but it didn't really become like the focus
Oh, focus.
of her life.
Wait, tell us about how her art developed.
I will. It did not become like her primary thing until she entered into college. I mean, like it was there and a passion and interest. But when she went to college, like photography, fine art photography was not like a major or a course.
Right.
So she ended up majoring in chemistry.
Oh,
Which is
like
like
development, right?
Yes.
Photo development. I
Yes.
can see that. Okay.
No, like seriously, her like graduating paper was about developing photos.
Oh, nice.
So she took this like learning of chemistry and applied it to her passion for photography.
Good on you.
She also made money while she was in college, taking very close-up pictures of biological specimens, like
Nice.
flowers, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
then the biology department could analyze it,
Right.
study it, and learn from it.
Yeah. And yet
it-
at the same time hone her practice and craft of photography.
Yes,
Yeah. Ooh, I
absolutely,
like it.
absolutely. So she kind of went through these phases with her photography, and the first one was, I'm gonna get this wrong. Is it pointillism?
Oh,
That's a thing.
I do love pointillism.
But with photography, though?
Then I have it wrong, you
Okay.
guys.
Pointillism
I
is
when
when you do the
she's
little
cutting
dots
edge.
and stuff like that.
If she's
In my
cutting
opinion.
edge.
Did she have a
Pictorialism.
pictorialism?
That's
Okay.
a little bit different.
Okay, gotcha.
Pictorialism.
Okay.
I knew it was a P word.
There you go.
But we're talking like very dreamy, like very kind of contrived photos. That was
Yeah.
kind of like the thing at the time when she was getting out of college.
Gotcha.
Was setting up these like dreamy photos where you had like a lot of them were very biblical and very staged and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And considering she was from the West Coast, this very foggy area, she did well with those.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's kind of interesting to note during that time. One of the photos she took was of her husband nude on Mount Rainier,
Nice.
which was also very cool since, as we were talking earlier, a lot of like nudity and nude modeling was
Yeah.
women. So kind of turning the table and taking this picture of her husband
Right.
naked. She also took a naked self-portrait on the
Yeah.
college campus of a college. So we're just like setting up
Like she's the first naked woman on a college campus.
But we're talking like very early
True.
1900s
True.
here. So I think it's an illustration of how like very like cutting edge and daring she was from the
Yeah.
very start. So we have like her art being these like very dreamy images, very like landscape and very broad.
Yeah.
And during this time, she marries her husband. She has 3 children, and I listened to a podcast from an art museum on the West Coast that was talking about how then she moves to California with her little family.
Yeah.
And her photography really focuses in and small.
Right. You start getting smaller.
And
yeah, yeah.
It seemed kind of symbolic, doesn't it? To
Yeah.
like now she's a mom
Yeah.
and her life is not a big landscape. It's staying at home,
Exactly.
being a mom, being with her kids. So she wanted to work during that time, but she was tending to her kids.
Right.
So what she started doing were taking super close-ups of her garden.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So kind of her
She
next
found a
well-known
way.
phase was
Yeah.
these very, very precise, crisp photos, very detailed close-ups of botanical images.
Oh, nice.
So when you look her up, you'll see that she's known for nudes,
Right.
botanical photos,
Right.
and industrial photos, like
Oh, okay. Buildings,
Buildings.
architecture. Got it. Okay.
buildings.
Nice.
Yes. Well, actually, she's done it all.
Yeah.
Because she's honing her craft on
Yeah.
her garden at home. But then just a few years later, she starts doing portraits.
Okay.
I'm missing out on some huge highlights of her life, and I just don't know the associated names as well. I'm not super familiar.
Gotcha. Yeah.
With fine art photography.
Yeah.
But she studied at this guy's studio, who was very reputable.
Ooh.
With the goal of starting her own studio.
Okay, gotcha.
So she did do these portraits kind of to earn some bank.
Yes. Right.
But we're not talking like she was taking like her kids' friends' school pictures.
Right,
She
right.
was she was working for Vanity Fair.
Oh,
So she's
nice.
photographing Cary Grant. When I flipped through her art, one of my favorite photos was one she took of Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
An incredible portrait she took of
Nice.
hers. So
Yeah.
she's making her name and she's making an impact.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved reading in her bio too, not that this is like maybe a positive,
Yeah.
but as this took off, Vanity Fair wanted her to come to the East Coast to New York for something.
Right.
And her husband asked her to wait until he could join.
Oh.
It was like 1936 or something.
Right.
And she was like, no one went anywhere anyway. And then on Wikipedia, they're like, they divorced that year.
Oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, she lived, I think, until she was 93, 94.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot to tell you about her because she was an active
Right.
photographer,
Her
artist.
entire life, pretty
for,
much.
yeah, for
Ever
60
since she
years.
could order a camera out of a
From it.
catalog.
Absolutely. So, like, in between that time before she even had kids, she also was able to get, like, an kind of internship. She was supported by her sorority
Yeah.
to go and study in Germany.
Nice.
And while in there, she was studying photography and chemistry. And she helped develop processes that would help speed up developing photography.
Oh, to make it quicker.
So I
This
was-
wasn't during the 1930s. There were no Nazis.
No, this was pre.
Okay, just
This
making
was
sure.
pre-World
you
War
never
One
know,
even.
You never know.
This was like 1908 or something
Okay,
like that.
all
But
right.
that made me think of Bonnie because
Right.
I know Bonnie likes our scientist women.
Right.
So I think it's very cool that she blended this knowledge of science with her art of photography.
Sweet.
Definitely a cool lady. So she did end up opening her own studio. As far as the women she mentored, I'm going to forget the name, but she was very close friends with a very famous dancer and choreographer.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm trying to.
Is it Martha Graham?
Yes.
Martha Graham!
Yes, I was
My guess
looking.
would have been Isadora Duncan.
Oh,
but-
okay. I was thinking
Martha
time
Graham.
period wise,
Yeah.
so that's
It was
why I'm like,
Martha Graham.
Martha Graham, Martha Graham.
Yes.
In one studio session, she took 90 photos of Martha Graham, and some of the very defining photos. I learned this from the little YouTube art talk I listened to. Was that like some of the images she took of Martha Graham are the ones that kind of defined her and illustrated her to the world.
Right. I'm like trying to find her book real quick because I'm wondering if
there.
like one of the covers of Martha Graham's books.
Oh.
I
or
wouldn't
one
be
of her photographs
surprised.
Or not. I think it. Well, there's Margaret. Margaret, and then there's tons of Marys. Where are? Oh.
Is it checked out?
Oh wait, no. Hold on. There it is.
We're gonna find it and we're gonna do it. But and then later in her life, like more like the 60s. Oh, definitely.
Those are gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that looks a lot like the Frito.
Yep.
one.
Yeah.
Exactly. It all looks like that same sort of time period sort of thing. So yeah, this book is
The one
A
I
Dancer's
saw-
Life by Russell Friedman.
The photo I know for sure that I saw that Imogene did is, do you see on the cover where she's
Yeah.
like kind of wrapped up in that stretchy material?
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I saw
Ah.
a photo like that, but it was more like very angular, and she had her elbow stuck into this. So if you're looking at like, you know, the green morph suits we have these days, imagine
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like the face is cut out. And so it's
Right.
very showing like the angular movement of her body, but it's honed in on her face because it's kind of a blank canvas around her.
Nice.
So
I
she
like
she
it.
took a lot of photos. They had a very close relationship, and she
Apparently we need to
mentored her, and they like
fix this
inspired
one.
each other. The other artist, and this isn't in her Wikipedia, so this was me listening to a YouTube video. So I don't have this artist's name either, but it was an artist that worked with wire, like woven wire, and sculptured it together to make it look like lines. And so she photographed a lot of this. It was an Asian artist.
Okay.
I love these art history people that they're like, I'm trying to throw out
They're
clues.
racking their
"Mm."
brain. They're like, hold on. And meanwhile, I'm like, cool, Katie. This
Yeah,
sounds great.
there was. And a lot of her pictures of this woman's art, and they had a very big age difference, these two ladies. But
Yeah.
they formed this mentorship and this friendship together.
Oh, cool.
But a lot of the photos she took of her art were kind of what made her known.
There you go. Put her on the map, sort of thing. Yeah. Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
See, by the way, Claire and Bonnie right now are Googling
On their phones.
like crazy. They are get that Google Kung Fu
Imogene
on.
Cunningham.
Okay, is this
Imogen.
photo?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, Claire wins.
I don't have a name.
What does
for
Claire
it
win?
yet.
Yes.
Okay, she's still working. Bonnie, you still got this.
Yeah.
You're still in it, Bonnie.
Do, 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 do. Okay.
The winner gets a cookie.
Ruth Asawa.
That's it. That's it. I knew I'd recognize it if I heard it.
I already ate a cookie, so I'm glad I earned it.
Okay, all right, you earned that cookie. You did. You totally earned it.
I need another one.
And this is kind of traveling back in time a little bit. Another very defining thing for her was when she was born in Washington. When she was young and married, they moved to California to like the San Francisco Bay Area. And while she was there, she helped form the F-64 group.
Okay.
So that's referring to like the f-stop on a camera.
That's what I
It's
think,
one of the
yeah.
lowest ones. So we're talking letting in all the light, all the detail, very short focused, very narrow. And that was kind of when you look at her botanical prints. I feel like I say that so wrong. Botanical
prints. It's all right. I know where you're going. It's all right.
You can see that influence, but part of the founding members of that group, the Sharp Focus Photography, were Ansel Adams, Edward Weston, and Willard Van Dyke.
I was wondering if Ansel Adams was going to come into this because it was the right time period and the right place too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so she definitely she was connected with people.
Right.
And
well, it's a very
beloved.
tight community, and
Yeah.
when talent recognizes talent, you know what I mean. So
Absolutely.
I think that's great.
And then at the end of her life, one of her last projects that was published after her death was a study of people that are in their 90s.
oh, cool.
Because she lived until 93 or 94. There's
Yeah.
a very famous photo of her father that she took when he was 90 after he just got done chopping down a whole bunch of logs, like
Right.
doing firewood kind of thing.
Doing
So
rar man's
for her
work.
studying
Yeah.
people in their 90s that were still active and still doing things and photographing them.
Yeah.
That was one of her last projects.
It's a worthwhile project, though. Yeah.
It's very cool. And I'm talking about the end of her life there.
Yeah.
But maybe like the last 20, 30 years before that, she was also very known in the Bay Area. Kind of a celebrated figure there.
Yeah.
She would walk around town in a cape with a big peace sign necklace, like a giant peace sign.
Man, I love San Francisco sometimes.
She was actually on the Johnny Carson show, and I haven't been able to see the clip, but you can see it, and I hear like she was a spitfire.
Yes.
Because she was very like politically energized, social activist.
Right. She was radicalized.
Radicalized.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, like, back in, like, 1930, she published a paper on how women should be photographers and they should be part of the field. Yes! And then she went on and fought for civil rights.
Sweet.
She was always a feminist, and she was very vehemently against the Vietnam War.
I'll bet you she also hated Nazis.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
How many
certain she hated
Nazis did she punch in the face? Oh, gosh.
It wasn't on her CV, Bonnie.
A good handful. But I have to say, everything I learned about her just made me want to know more. She seems super fascinating, and when I look at her photography, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend giving
She
her a
has
good old
distinct
Google.
style. Yeah, exactly. A good old Google.
A good old Google of Imogene Cunningham.
Look at that.
That's awesome, Katie.
Fantastic.
Since you mentioned before that you would like to pursue photography more, does learning more about Imogene Cunningham make you want to start making some photographs?
It really
See?
does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Looking at her images and seeing, like, I mean, just her depth of focus, her precision with what she did,
Yeah.
it was just gorgeous.
Not only that, but I mean, even just looking at these Martha Grahams, the simplicity and elegance of it. You know what I mean? You're talking about one subject against a, static background and having it be so fascinating.
Yeah.
And you're like going, all of us have one wall that we can clear stuff from. You have one active child.
There you go. I'm actually just thinking I need to get Josh convinced to do like some nudes.
Okay,
in
that was my backup
Noblesville,
plan.
Right?
Yes,
and I'll just call it
exactly.
Nudes in Noblesville.
Nudes
as a
in
series.
Noblesville would be a very popular series.
Yeah, we're going straight to the courthouse bell tower. But,
I like it.
You can be in my hangout with your hangout show.
Yes.
Just
See?
nude dudes.
New dudes.
It's a movement.
I mean, I would say the bare naked ladies, but wait a minute. Nope, that's a different thing.
Oh my gosh.
Butt naked bros.
But naked bros.
Oh, I always wanted to do a bare naked ladies cover band, but
Yeah.
call it the fully clothed men.
There you go. Yep. See how many people get the reference. Yes. I think both
both
people,
of them will enjoy
both
it.
of them will have a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd only start that band if I had $1 million.
If you had $1 million,
yeah.
look at that.
These are the elder millennial jokes.
That was, by the way, that was the song that came on today that made me think of the Bare Naked Ladies as a reference because I was singing at the top of my lungs. If I had $1 million, I'd buy you a house. Sweet. Well, did you want to wrap us up, Charlie?
Yeah.
It was fascinating. Or did you have more?
Oh, no.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Yes.
I was done. I probably overdid.
No. You actually looked disappointed, like, oh, but I had more.
Just wish I could say it how the woman on YouTube already said it, but they can just get directed.
I
to
know,
that.
right? Yes, exactly. I will put it in the show notes, and at the same time, having multiple voices,
But
tell
you guys
somebody's
help-
story
You guys
is
helped
value.
me along.
Yes.
Help me along. You found the other artists.
See?
It was a team effort.
It was. It was kind of like a Google Kung Fu
links
game.
and images from this week's show.
We
Yeah.
need to have
visit
better prizes, although I
galsguide.org.
think the cookies
Want
are
exclusive
damn
stuff like
good.
deleted bits and major bloopers?
Next time
Become a
check
Gals
this
Guide
out.
patron today.
All right, I'm going
listening.
to go.
Go for it.
Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week for another cool Women of History as Gals Guide podcast continues. Thank you for listening.